Hello everyone, Dunkurtin here, and welcome to the final episode, the second semi-final, and the final match for the Nita Cup 600k-4 Top Gun non-lure edition. So first up today, we will have the Speedy Weenus here going head to head with the Vexagon and Lumina, and then the winner of that match will go on to fight the Fury and Fighter Swarm in the grand final. So should be some interesting matches today, I'm hoping. We have actually seen the Fury and Fighter Swarm fight both of these contestants, so it is definitely the favourite to win the competition right now. But who knows what could happen, like anything could happen really. And first we have to find out who's going to be fighting them again anyway. So let's get straight on into our first matchup, the second semi-final between the Vexagon and Lumina and the Speedy Weenus. Alright guys, loading in first we have the Vexagon and Lumina from Abyei. I've just checked the spawning height as well, we're at 306, so I've done it right for once. Hopefully I can just keep roughly this height as we go over to spawn in the Speedy Weenus, which I went a little bit higher by accident. I'm at about almost 350 now, but it should be okay. They should level out pretty well, the two of them. So let's speed up the action. Oh, sorry, the Speedy Weenus from Tajima. Forgot to add that on. Yeah, and let's speed things up and see how the action unfolds. So the Speedy Weenus, as we're used to, just speeding off screen as it loads in at that broadside position as requested by Tajima, sending off those early missiles which trying to chase down the Lumina but not working as the Vexagon sends out its own missile barrages, but the Speedy Weenus will most likely be a bit too fast for those, as we see a couple missiles coming in from the Speedy Weenus and landing on the Vexagon right there. So this will be a pretty similar matchup, I think, as to when the Vexagon went up against the Squee, in that it might not have much luck with the lasers taking down the Vexagon, but the Speedy Weenus does have a few missiles as well, so we'll see what happens. Try and get over here to see how close these missiles are getting to the... Ooh, no, just outrunning them by the looks of things. The next matchup, next round, we will spawn the Speedy Weenus a bit closer, possibly not in its broadside as well, so as to give the Vexagon possibly a more preferential start, seeing as the Speedy Weenus did get its preferred broadside at a pretty decent distance this time around. Let's just see how things play out here. So we tried following those missiles and we saw they just don't have the juice to the thrust to get there on the intercept angle to the actual Speedy Weenus. They kind of just run out. They're on the right angle by the looks of things. Ooh, are we gonna? Looks like we had a couple hits there that as the Speedy Weenus flew through that group. Try and get this side this time. See if we. Oh no, it's managed to avoid them this time around. Let's get back on over to checking on the Vexagon and Lumina. Looks like the Vexagon has gone down. Whether it's succumbed to the lasers or missiles, not entirely sure, but it's not disabled yet. The Lumina is still in play, and there's a chance the Vexagon could get back up. Just continue to let this play out a bit longer. So it looks like the majority of the damage is coming in from these missiles. The Vexagon trying to repair itself, but the missiles seem to be slowly chipping it at a slightly faster rate. But this probably be quite a drawn out battle, so we'll just zoom back out and let this play out for a while, guys. Oh, and it looks like the Vexagon has got itself back up out of the water. See how much of a difference this could make now that it can try to close in a little bit of the distance between itself and the Speedy Weenus. Still dropping slowly in percentage, however, but occasionally when the missiles don't run out of fuel first, some of them do have a chance of connecting, so maybe now we'll see some damage go onto the Weenus. Just follow these missiles out, see if they can intersect. Ooh, the Lumina actually managed to get a good intercept there and landed a missile, but taking some laser damage in return. Speedy Weenus still registering as 100%, and yeah, outrunning that launch of missiles from the Vexagon. Let's go back over and just see how is the Lumina falling out of the sky by the looks of things. But the Vexagon is up now, so as long as one of the two remains up and in play, the match will continue. Alright guys, the Vexagon has gone down. We just need to quickly locate the Lumina to find out if they're both down. Just quickly zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Wherever the Lumina is, it's not in sight, so I think that's it over there. Okay, that's down, so I need to start my minute timer. Sorry, I'm a bit slow on that. I just wanted to confirm that they were both down before I started that. So start that now. And yeah, if neither of these craft gets itself back up above 100, so need to keep an eye not just on the Vexagon, but the Lumina over there with its single balloon. Actually, is that? Yeah, that's still on the water. It's a bit hard to tell from a distance, but I lost it. Where'd it go? Oh, was heading in the wrong direction. Sorry guys. Bit confused there. So yeah, the Lumina is on the water, and the Vexagon is on the water. Neither is above the 100 altitude right now, and they have about 20 seconds for one of them to get up. Which, if either of them's going up, Lumina only had a single balloon, so got about 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there is the minute timer. So that brings the first matchup between these two to a close finally. That was a fairly long matchup. It's been almost 15 minutes, so not bad. And the Speedy Weenus taking this first round. Next round, the Vexagon will be spawning closer to the Weenus, and the Weenus will... I'm going to say, I'm still going to give it its broadside angle, I think. Otherwise, it's just going to fly straight past with its extreme speed anyway. And but yeah, I will spawn it closer as it is requested. The Weenus does want extreme distance, about 1500 meters if possible. So I think for the second one, we will spawn it in closer and see if that works a little bit better for the Vexagon or not. So let's get onto that second matchup straight away, guys. Alright guys, here we go for the second matchup. The Vexagon and Lumina spawning in second, much closer this time. They don't actually have a preferred orientation for them, so just spawn them straight. Looks like the Speedy Weenus managed to just immediately run out of the missile range anyway, so didn't really make any difference. So depending how the Vexagon goes, whether it gets to a third matchup. We may have to try something even more different. Who knows what we'll try in our kind of wild card draw for the third matchup. But this looks like it may just be some more of the same. The Weenus, I believe it's actually set to speed up as missiles get close to it with some ACB settings as well, which is why it's so good at outrunning these missiles. And once it's at this range, I'm not sure that there's really much that the Vexagon can do apart from hoping that the Lumina gets a bit closer while the Weenus is focusing the Vexagon, and then maybe gets a lucky missile on it. Oh, we might have a hit here. Looks like it ran into the side of a couple missiles there, and it lost one of its laser turrets. Oh, this is a big development, guys. That effectively halved the power of the Weenus. It also lost a lot of thrust. So all it takes is that one lucky hit, guys. We saw the Weenus just dodge so many of those volleys in the last match. And yeah, just one lucky hit. We will start our timer as the Weenus is now down. But it looks like we probably don't need the timer right now. There is no defense against this massive barrage of missiles coming in from the Vexagon. And the Lumina helping out a little bit here and there. Not as much artillery on that one though. So it looks like maybe one of those missiles that made contact either damaged the thrusters as well, or it was an ion missile? EMP. I don't know why I keep on trying to call them ion missiles. But yeah, an EMP warhead on there that may have shorted out some of the thrusters or something. Maybe the ACB that makes it speed up to run away from the missiles. And it managed to slow it down enough. And there's our minute, so that more missiles in the next volley could get a decent hit on it, and that managed to bring it down. So we are now one apiece between the Squee and the Vexagon and Lumina. We will be going to a third match. Just gonna have to take a minute to think about what's the fairest way to spawn this in. I'm thinking mid-range, both facing like alongside each other broadside, so that the original missiles will have a chance of hitting, but the Speedy Weenus still has a chance to outrun them. I'm not really sure, I don't know yet. We'll try, or perhaps I'll try spawning mid-range. The Weenus, I think I'll spawn facing the enemy, and I'll spawn the Vexagon and Lumina sideways. That's something we haven't done yet. I think that's what we'll do. Alright guys, here we go with the final tiebreaker match between these two to decide who goes on to fight the Fury and Fighter Swarm in the grand final. Let's just speed this up here and see how the action unfolds. The Speedy Weenus takes a couple hits from the initial volley in the one round where it spawned in not on a broadside. So that did make a tiny difference, but it hasn't done enough damage to completely affect the outcome one way either or another. So I feel like it was a fair spawn, not a spare fawn. Yeah, so this should be interesting to see how this final match unfolds. Just really a matter of which side will get the lucky missile hits first, because I really do believe it was the missiles from the Speedy Weenus that managed to take out the propulsion on the Vexagon in the first round. The lasers are good at cutting down the Lumina, which I have lost complete track of, by the way, but are not so effective against the smoke defenses of the Vexagon. There's the Lumina over there, just kind of derping around. Not sure what it's doing. Is it even launching its own? Might get on a good intercept course actually right now. If it launches its missiles soon. No, not sure what was going on there. Must have been damaged. That was really a missed opportunity for the Vexagon and Lumina. So as you can see, not much damage really done to the front of the Vexagon. I really think it's the fact that these missiles, when they hit, they kind of swing around to the back. And it's the chance that if they hit the jets, they're going to take the Vexagon down. So it looks like the flares are doing a bit of decent work in stopping a few of those missiles from hitting though. It's the first time I've really paid enough attention to kind of see how much of an effect it has. You'll notice how that one kind of, you can see the stream, it ducked down towards the flares before. If it hadn't have done that, it probably would have connected. So it's pretty cool to like be able to visibly see that in action, especially with the trails. You can see the deviation of the missile. Well, we got a couple coming pretty head on by the looks of it, and yeah, see that swinging to the side to miss. The flare's working very well right now. Wow, okay, so we got some really good collisions on the Speedy Weenus there. Managed to capture it reasonably well from up above. Try to get a bit of better view here. So that looks like that will be it for the Speedy Weenus. Wow, so it will not be going on to have a rematch with the Fury and Fighter Swarm, which the first matchup would kind of feel really bad about how that turned out. I probably should have redone it in hindsight with the landmass and all that, but seeing how the Speedy Weenus continued through the lower bracket and did get to the semi-final, I do feel like we can say it probably wouldn't have beaten the Vexagon in the final either way, at least. So Tajima, you can take that to heart, I guess. Though I'm not going to say that it's possible you probably did deserve to get to the grand final instead of the semi-final. It's a bit of a tricky one with how that match turned out, unfortunately. But thank you very much for your submission anyway. Look forward to seeing how your Lua version of the Speedy Weenus goes in the next competition. And also congratulations to Abye. The Vexagon and Lumina will be going on to face the Fury and Fighter Squad. Not for the first time, however. Last time it didn't turn out so well for you, but this is the grand final. Who knows what could happen? We just saw how luck and just a few lucky hits managed to turn things around for this entry against the Speedy Weenus. So yeah, there's no knowing what's going to happen in the final, and we're going to get straight onto that one right now, guys. I may split it into a second video, we'll see, but I'm just going to jump straight into it, no introduction. Alright, so for our first matchup in the grand final, we're finally here. We have the Fury and Fighter Swarm from God Uranus, spawning in its preferred orientation for the first matchup, facing away from the enemy. And its opponents, the Vexagon and Lumina, did not go so well for them the first time these two faced off. Spawning in relatively close for this first round, we will spawn them further away in the second, as we speed up the action and see what happens. A lot of missiles coming out of the Vexagon and a lot of missiles coming in to hit the Vexagon. Not sure that many of the Vexagon's missiles made any real purchase on the Fighter Swarm. However, the Fighter Swarm's missiles not missing much, also taking down the Lumina pretty quick. Have a lot larger targets to aim for. Just a whole mess of missile streams all around the place right now. But we do see the Vexagon is going down. It is at a... Ooh, got some collisions there. I would say it is at about the 100 altitude now. So I am going to start our timer. It does look like this first round in the matchup has ended very quickly. Hopefully the second round goes a bit better when we spawn the Vexagon a bit further out and in a more favourable position for them, as I do try to alternate it. But this looks like at the moment the close range alpha strike of the swarm was too much for the Vexagon and Lumina. Also at that range, just the Vexagon's missiles not able to turn sharply enough to really hit any of the fast and small fighter swarm. And that is our minute, guys. A fair bit of slowdown due to explosions during that minute, but I do not see the Vexagon getting up in the next few seconds either way, so we will call this first match in favor of the Fury and Fighter Swarm. God Uranus takes one step closer to winning the entire competition. However, it is not over just yet. Alright guys, this time around the Fury and Fighter Swarm spawning in second, this time facing towards its enemy and at a much greater distance. Let's see if that will make any difference in the Vexagon's ability to land some missile hits, as the Fury itself just streaks straight up ahead and managed to divert the majority of the Vexagon's missiles, which left the entire fighter swarm pretty well untouched there. And the missiles from the Fury did hit the Lumina, but didn't manage to take it down immediately. So that is fairly damaged. The Vexagon has taken a fair few hits, but it wasn't all at once a concentrated alpha strike like the first time around. So both ships definitely doing much better here. Let's see how much damage we have across the board. Not much to either side apart from the Lumina, really. Just probably going to have to get a bit of a wider view of this. And really, a lot of it is going to be luck. The fighter swarm, harder to hit, but it will only take one hit to take a lot of those fighters out. And we see the Lumina has gone down over there as well, so it is all down to the Vexagon. I'm not sure it can just deal with just this many targets at once though, as all these missiles are slowly chipping away at it. Ooh, large explosion on its back there actually. Where is our Fury, the main fighter for this team? This looks like a few cannon hits landing on the front there as well. Armor piercing shots by the look of it. Ooh, was that a collision? I think that was a collision there. Yes, it was. That's what I've been waiting to see. That's why I'm kind of focusing the camera on the Vexagon, just to see. I'm expecting there might be a few collisions in this one, and the Fury is just so hard to keep up with as well, guys. The Vexagon doing very well, lasting quite a while, as the Fury comes through making another pass. It is crazy how quickly it outruns its own missiles actually. That volley was from the Fury, and it looks like we have the propulsion for the Vexagon taken out right now. The Lumina is pretty well dead. I think that's what that explosion down there was. Yes, we no longer have a Lumina fighter, Omni fighter. And the Vexagon is slowly falling. I'll bring up my HUD so I can start that, why are we not getting, there we go. Start that timer as soon as we get below 100. Here we go. HUD off so that we can watch this in a more cinematic view. Though, to be honest, I'm not sure we really need the timer. Well, no, the Vexagon's still firing actually, so we do. I was going to say, it looked like it might be blown to bits because there was a large gaping hole, but it's not as bad as I first thought. Not sure where all those missiles from the Fury were going, but I don't think it's going to make much difference anyway, as we have less than 10 seconds remaining on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And that is it, guys. Congratulations to God Uranus with the Fury and Fighter Swarm. You have won the Nita Cup 600k-4 Top Gun Edition. You've won the non-lure bracket of the Nita Cup. Congratulations. You will go into the Hall of Fame for the Nita Cup. I do keep a record of every winner of every single Nita Cup. So you have made permanent history. Got your name permanently in the From the Depths history books, pretty much. And congratulations to Abier. You have placed second place. I do believe that's not Abier's first placing in the top 4. Actually, I will have to check the records to be 100% sure, but I do believe he's been up there before. And of course, Tajima for third place will also go into the records with the Speedy Weenus. But yes, it looks like, as expected, with it being a repeat matchup, the Fury and Fighter Swarm has won out the day. If you enjoyed this competition, be sure to come back, as we are about to start up the Lure competition, which means that basically exact same rules except for you're allowed to use Lure scripted AI and missiles and such. So we will see a lot more maneuvering from the craft in the next tournament, a lot smarter missile behavior, a lot smarter behavior in general, really. I believe the majority of the people will be using variations of the same scripts from Lothorn and Madwand, though maybe we can expect to see a little special magic from those two, as they both have their own entrance in the competition. As always, I appreciate your feedback. Leave comments down below or in the forum thread, which is linked in the description down below. If you have noticed or not, I have been trying to take on a lot. I've been focusing a lot better on getting my altitude. I wasn't very good at that at the start of the tournament. I know that. I'm sorry about the issues that caused throughout the tournament, but I have been working on that a lot, and a lot of that was feedback from you guys that taught me how, what I'm looking for right now when I do this is I'll bring up the start menu so you can see there's this kind of band here, and when that appears you're around let's say I'd be close to 300 now, I think. So yeah, thanks to, I can't remember who said that on the forum actually, but you know who you are. Thank you very much for pointing that out. And yeah, if you like the action, hit the like button, subscribe so that you don't miss that next tournament, and until then guys, I hope you all have fun building in From the Depths.